should not have been that hard for me to join this channel. Let's get it going. Took me a long time to get that out. It was a lot of words with not a lot of time to say it. Got 12 starters tonight.
And the green flag is out.
Off and away. Ty Riker. Ty Riker, who was a hell of an oval racer last year, came down to the wire to win Indy. Now, I think that, it's going to be proper pack racing here in a little bit. Now, the thing is that I honed down on is patience. How are they going to be able to be patient with the way that these cars race? I think it's going to take them about 20, 25, almost an accidental already down the front stretch.
Yeah, that was pretty close.
I'm really, really nervous that these cars get such a run that they're not going to be able to get separated like we saw last season on tracks like Texas or Kansas, where, once the tires start to settle in a little bit, the separation happens. But this track is an animal compared to the other two, and I don't think there's going to be any separation. I think the only separation that we're going to see is cars letting off and letting the pack get away. Trent Ripley in the wall, turn 2. Oh man, that's going to be a disastrous night for him. Right front tire's already gone.
Yeah, it looks like he's definitely had to come down and get that fast repair.
Looks like he just got a little bit nervous around the car in front of him. Car in front of him came up the track just a little bit, and he overcorrected right into the wall. Trent was so excited for this race. Trent, our normal broadcaster out here, VSRL, he was so excited for this race. This is his favorite track. Not the way that you wanted to see his night in, but it is what it is. Trent doesn't have a lot of time in these cars. Oh, we got a spin down the front stretch. He's going to get it saved without touching anything. That was an impressive save by Elliott Cox, who just, he got into the disaster zone. I'm calling the anywhere on the apron a disaster zone tonight. Speeds that these cars are carrying and how fast they're moving around. You hit the apron anywhere in this track, odds are you're probably going to end up spinning around. As we saw right there, he tried to dive down, and he just couldn't keep up with it. Got it sideways, didn't hit anybody or anything, so I call that a good save.
Let's ride with him here on board with a nice little row bar cam. Yeah, he just went down the apron and just lost it. It's almost like you either have to be all the way on the apron or completely on track. Because if you're going to try to split like that, we see it even in, Cup cars, Indy car, and they all do it. They all go around here.
They mentioned it in the pre-race meeting. Some of the drivers, from what they found in practice, is it's not so much being down on the apron. It's when you try and come back off the apron. That's when it really bites. So, already got a caution, lap 6, Ty Riker, Nicholas Weatherby, last week's winner, Scott Segrist, sitting in 3rd. James A. Pierce, making his VSRL debut tonight, already up to 4th. Brian Edwards, Matt Brewer, Austin Saar, William Brennan, they're going to bring it down pit road to get their first service of the night. Only 3 extra sets of tires tonight, so I really honestly can't tell you what the tire wear is going to be like tonight. So if they come in and they're getting this first set of tires on already, the 127 laps to go, you wear those tires out, you only got 2 extra sets in that box. I don't know if any of those drivers got tires, I don't know if I like that call. I just think it's too early in the race.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I mean, you might as well ride it out. At least try to ride it out to the first pit cycle so you can at least save the tires in case there's
It is lap 7.
Caution.
Track position is going to be a key sometime in this race. When everybody gets leveled out, track position is going to be key. But I just don't know if I like that call because you're putting yourself back in traffic. If the tires do make a difference, you're putting yourself at the back of the traffic with fresh tires. So you're going to be faster than the cars in front of you, but they know something that we don't. These drivers do have 1 fast repair tonight. 1 fast repair. This is going to be the first time ever This is the 20th race for VSRL, and this is going to be the first time that we're going to have a lucky dog handed out tonight. So eventually, we'll be handing one out. A rule that we did not have last year. So last year, if you were a lap down, the only way you were going to get it back is if you fought your way past the leader. Now you don't have to do that. Now you don't have to race the leader like it's the last lap every lap. Now you can hang back and just fight the cars that are laps down, and you get your lap back every caution. That's something that IndyCar is exploring for and doing in real life. So why not test it out for IndyCar? You know what? While we're under caution, I don't think we're at one to go yet. Let's get a quick interview with Trent Ripley. Talk about what happened there on lap 3. Trent Ripley, you're up in the Vectors Vision broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
Trent, bud, what happened on lap 3?
Bad, real bad net code. About a foot and a half. I went back and watched it, and I was like, ridiculous.
Is it bad out there?
Oh,
Is it is the run so? You getting such big runs with these cars that you're simply not able to create the gaps? It's full blown pack racing, even if you don't want it to be?
Oh, well, kinda, but I mean, I was a foot and a half away, and I got freaking swung into the wall.
You didn't get the lucky dog?
No.
Somebody's gonna be the first lucky dog, and if you get another caution, it'll probably be you. You'll be the first lucky dog recipient in league history.
That code's terrible. I'm just gonna back the frick off.
Well, you're mid pack, and you got everybody on a different strategy behind you than in front of you. So you split the strategies right now. Good luck, have fun, Trent.
Oh yeah, we'll see ya.
Sounded like there was a lot of enthusiasm there.
Me too. He hasn't raced yet. He's gracious enough to not race this series on a weekly basis and broadcast it. So the one night that he gets to come out and actually race, and basically he gets put on the trailer early, I'd be upset too. And if I wreck out early at Michigan in a couple weeks, that's how I'll feel. Coming out of turn 4 for the restart. Ty Riker got her up against the wall. Trent's just going to let him go. Ty Riker, hell of a jump. Now it's going to be interesting to see how much of proper pack racing we're going to see now that there's a single file restart rather than a double file restart. I think everybody who came down pit road is part of the Indy Autosport brigade that is here. They have five cars out here, all of them resembling the real life Penske cars. And that is William Brennan, Matt Brewer, Brian Edwards, Taylor Woods, and I think Elliot Cox is a part of that team this week. Matt Brewer right on behind Trent Ripley. Top 4 cars have kind of put themselves under a blanket. 5th place of Brian Edwards pulling in tow pretty quickly. Scott Segrist exploring the outside line. That's going to be something that later on this race, whoever can capitalize on that outside line being available is going to be the one to shine. And I don't know how you can make it work. There's a way to make it work, but how are you going to make it work? Scott Segrist is making it work right now. On the outside of James Pierce for 2nd. He's going to get it. He's going to clear him. What a run into turn 1 by Scott Segrist to pull into 2nd place, and he's going to go try and get more. Scott Segrist, who absolutely dominated last week's race at the Indianapolis road course. He's going to go to the outside of Ty Riker for 1st. Side by side for the lead. I like that Scott Segrist is being aggressive, going for the lead early, trying to lead the most laps, trying to stay up front. But I think that outside line is going to be detrimental to tires if you're up there for long enough.
And the running side by side is going to bring everybody else in the picture as well. So, like the top 6 here underneath the blanket.
Certainly going to cause problems. And regardless of what we had to say about that strategy.
Try to make it 3 wide there.
3 wide for the lead. Are we going to get it? Thankfully, not yet. They're trying. They want to. Nicholas Weatherby shot out of a cannon. Yeah, you know, I tell you what, everybody loves to see close, hard racing like this, but this is just a bomb waiting to explode. That is the 67 of Elliott Cox, destroyed down the front stretch. And, oh, it was just exactly what he did earlier. Got on the apron and just lost control. Caught point leader Austin Sarr in the nose. Austin Sarr is going to have a rough rest of the night, and that's going to be the second one tonight for Elliott Cox. That apron. That apron is the death zone.
It's right on here with Elliott Cox as he hits the apron, gets loose, and comes up track. And big contact with the wall.
Got Taylor Woods bringing it down. Now is the time where if you're going to come in and you're going to start doing some strategy stuff, now is the time here on lap 18 rather than lap 7. With 2 cautions for 6 laps already, we've only been green for about 11 or 12 laps. So I'm really not sure if there's any true amounts of tire wear that have been put on these tires, but if like I said earlier, if tires are making that much of a difference right now, Taylor Woods is about to be the ultimate benefactor of that.
So we've talked a lot about strategy. So as far as we were talking about pack racing earlier, is there going to be any washing that we've seen in previous races?
I think it'll definitely end up happening. I think it's going to take until these packs disperse a little bit. Whenever maybe if we get like a green flag pit stop and the cars are a little bit spread out, then the wash is definitely going to be coming to play. But you know, when they're pack racing like that, they kind of end up just carrying each other around. But you know, I say that tire wear. If we get green flag pit stops and these things start to wear out a little bit, you get about 20 laps into a green flag run and you are not going to be able to sustainably pack race side by side with each other. It's just going to cause accidents.
So again, if you're just now joining us, we're underneath our second caution on lap 19 as Cox makes contact with the wall after hitting the apron for the second time. Man, pacing sure is boring, huh?
As we get one to green, Ryan Depew's bringing it down pit road.
Thanks, Robert. did a little tweak to the setup. Do you know if we're 1 to... Oh, yeah, we are. 1 to green.
Yep, 1 to green. Ty Riker, Scott Segrist, Nicholas Weatherby, James Pierce, and Brian Edwards. The top 5. The top 4 right now have yet to pit. So... Coming down to it. Ty Riker gonna get a nice jump on everybody, nice even spread. I wonder how long that lasts for. I bet they're pack racing within a lap and a half.
Yeah,
the runs that these things get, and I thought last year the runs that these cars were getting at Texas and Kansas were crazy. The runs tonight, this is something else that I was not personally expecting to see. They're already going off into turn 3 and 4, and you can clearly see that Segrist and Weatherby are getting massive runs. Weatherby up top for second. Oh, Trent Ripley. And you know what, Adam? Once again, it was that damned apron.
I'm seeing a trend here, and I don't like it. It's almost like they're hitting it in a weird spot, the way they're merging down there. There he goes. Just along for the ride at that point. Tell you what though, no damage to the car. That's good. All he needs is a new set of tires.
Boys, we called it a night.
Why'd you leave, Trent? You're helping us broadcast now.
Well, boys, we called it a night.
Trent, you better get in here and help us broadcast. Well, we got Austin Sarr, Matt Brewer, and Brian Edwards bringing it back down pit road.
Oh.
I really hope that they are not taking tires, because if they're taking these tires, they are putting themselves in serious jeopardy moving forward in this race, as we still have over 100 laps to go.
Boys, we did the same thing on the caution lap. Try to get back.
I don't know what to tell you, Trent. These cars are a different animal. You weren't expecting them, huh?
No.
What was the hardest part about being out there tonight, Trent, that you were not expecting?
It's just any old tweak.
They're super aero sensitive, huh?
Yeah, you even touch the line and they're gone. This is my favorite track in the stock car, too.
Trent, get back in here.
What?
You need to get back in this session.
I'm watching on the screen.
That doesn't help. Not one to go yet. Biggest mover on the night so far is William Brennan. Started 15th, got it up to 6th. That's including having a pit stop. Right now, 1st through 4th, yet to make a pit stop. William Brennan has been out for 19 laps. Everybody else is relatively good to go for a while. So if one of these runs we end up getting this thing stretched out, maybe about 40, 50 lap run, it's going to be interesting to see where the top 4 end up shaking out compared to the likes of Matt Brewer, Brian Edwards, and Austin Sauer, who only have 2 laps on this run. You know, that being said, we've only been under green for about 14 laps. We're going to get it? Yep, we got it. 1 to green. Brian Depew bringing it down pit road. And I think, you know, I say it right now, lap 26 out of 133. You wait until the end of this thing, and Ryan Depew's name is going to be up there. Because I can see that he is doing everything he can to not be in any incidents. He is pulling the old Talladega Daytona in a stock car trick of pulling that thing down to 1 to green and sitting in the back and just waiting it out.
So we've seen the leader have really good takeoffs here. What are you doing here if you're in second place to try to keep it with them on a restart?
Well, now that this is going to be the 3rd one, so if you're Scott Segrist, maybe with the first 2 you've learned what he's going to do and when he's going to do it. You already know where he's going to go. He's going to get past the start-finish line. He's going to bring the field down. So maybe we get a little packed up. It's a little spaced out, about 5th on back. Pace car off, out of turn 4. They anticipated it. Oh, boy. Oh, that was almost a disaster.
They're all spaced out. Man, these runs are so impressive. Woo!
Here we go again. Already 3 wide for the lead. It looks like we're going to get it. James Pierce in the middle has got the biggest run of them all. And I tell you what, that top line with Nicholas Weatherby just completely stalled out when he went to the middle, and he's going to try it again going into 1. I don't think the outside line is sustainable, and I really don't think that these guys realize that the higher up you go, the more that you're wasting these tires. You know, it doesn't seem like it. That down stuck on the bottom, you would think is going to waste more tires, but you go up there, you're going to use more tires because you are not in the lane that has the grip. As Scott Segrist pushes up, almost gets into Nicholas Weatherby as James Pierce is going to go for the lead.
Ooh, little wiggle going in the corner.
Well, the way they're racing, the next caution, I can tell you where it's probably going to come from. That is the 3 cars that are trying to occupy a space for 2 cars. Nicholas Weatherby getting on the inside, almost hits the apron. We've seen what that's done to cars tonight. You know, I try to put myself in the situation where, you know, as a driver, it's lap 31. Do I race this aggressive, or do I sit back and think about points? And for the few of these guys, like Ty Riker and James Pierce, you know, points isn't really a factor. You're out here to win. The 2 behind you, they're out here for points. They're trying to go long-term for a championship. It's Scott Segrist now pulling it up on the outside. We've seen that 2 lanes can work, and we've seen that a 3rd can get formed, but I don't think the 3rd lane has the ability to get anything going. As this pack of 4 is bringing in the 3 behind them, bringing in Taylor Woods, Austin Sarr, and Matt Brewer. Brian Edwards about another 2nd behind that. Fastest car on track last time by was Matt Brewer at the very back of that pack. So the tow they are getting is incredible. 3 wide for the lead once again. Oh, almost contact coming down the front stretch. I'm telling you, here, lap 34, the more and more that we say almost is going to end up being reality, and it's going to take a lot of good cars out. They're dicing all over the place. James Pierce got a hell of a run on him that time, going down into 1.
They're going to be 3 wide.
You know, a lot of thinking about 4 wide. They thought about 4 wide going into 3. There it almost was. Oh, he's going to lose it. Scott Segrist goes around. And I tell you what, for the second time tonight, that one even more impressive. Did a complete 360, ended up saving it without touching anything or anybody. But, you know, just like we've seen the whole night, you get down on that apron, and there really is nothing you can do about it. There really is nothing you can do about it.
Whew. Made a real aggressive move going down, and it just, yet again, when they're on the apron, they're fine. It's the moment they try to come back on track, or if they try to keep just the right sides on.
That change of elevation, you know, you're just going simply too fast to not spin out when you're changing elevation like that. Now here we are coming down to the pit stops. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what the top 3 decide to do, because we are 37 laps into this run now. You got about 24 green flag laps on the tires. If you stay out for track position, you're going to have to be coming down soon. If I'm not in the top 5, I'm for sure pitting, and it's going to be very top 3 stay out. Here come the cars that are pitting, about 5th on back.
Some of those guys got to be out of tires by now.
So if we get a long run, we end up getting a long run on this or the next stint, and these guys stay out, it is going to end up throwing this strategy for a complete loop, because these 3 cars that have been at the front of the field for the whole race are going to get stuck, probably at minimum a lap down. Tough break for Scott Segrist. Luckily, he wasn't forced to use his fast repair there, last week's winner. Austin Sarr is going to end up bringing it down pit road. He wants to be at the back. If I'm in the top 3, when do I pit? I think that I would have already done it and gotten it out of the way. Taking tires, don't know. But at least the fuel, because now we're out of the range where we're seeing that these guys are confident enough to stay out right now on lap 39. And we've only, you know, this is going to be lap 40, and we've had 15 laps of caution. You know, if you're confident enough with your tires that long into this run, tires aren't going to be an option. Then you got to worry about fuel. Well, how much fuel are you going to get? You know, one of these runs is going to end up being pretty, at least 50, 60 laps.
Alrighty, boys. Well, I guess this kind of works out tonight because one of our drivers just got arrested, so. Kind of fricked, but he had fake registration plates, so he just got arrested.
I mean, for work.
Said what?
You mean for work?
Yeah. So, I guess I'll go work while you guys do this.
Kind of interesting coming down pit road again.
This is gonna be. I think that the fact that we have. We got the front three drivers who are still plenty fast, 40 laps on the run. Everybody else doesn't have more than 5 laps.
Yeah, but how much of that's been under pacing, and that doesn't affect the tires that much.
That's true. We're coming to green right now. It's going to be lap 41. We have 16 laps under caution. Here we go. Restart number 4 tonight. Nice even spread. I'll take it and give it about turn 3 until second, third place is right up next to each other. This one might be the most spread out restart we've got, as James Pierce has already got a monster run on leader Ty Riker. He's going to carry the momentum up to the high side, turn 3. If he's going to clear him, this is his chance. Got the momentum out of 4. To the line, James Pierce is the leader. The run stalled out. Now that Weatherby's coming on the outside, I don't think he's got a chance to get him now. That was his chance, and too little too late. Now the other cars are pulled up. Matt Brewer and Brian Edwards are going to be there before we know it. Three wide for the lead, and they got about 10 car lengths to the car behind them. These are the 3 cars that have been out there for almost 45 laps. So that is something to look for. We get 20, 25 laps down the road. These guys are going to have to be coming in. Three wide for the lead. I'm more holding my breath in the broadcast booth than probably these drivers are. Like I was saying earlier, I just don't think that the Highline is sustainable for these tires, but I'm getting proved wrong. These guys have been out here for pulling up on half distance of this race, and they haven't even pit yet.
Still being uber aggressive.
Well, I think honestly, as much as they don't want to be aggressive, their hands are kind of forced, just because of the way that this car runs at this track. That even when you're not trying to be aggressive, it's just allowing cars behind you to get such massive runs that even if they don't even particularly intend on it, it's going to happen. This is the kind, this kind of racing we really have not been accustomed to. Kansas ended up leveling out, as Scott Segrist has called it a night. Still, we remain 3 wide for the lead. Oh, there they go. Oh my gosh. The top 3, Ty Riker, James Pierce, Nicholas Weatherby, all wrecked out of turn 4. See what we can see right here, and oh my gosh, good friend Netcode from the front of James Pierce caught the rear end of the 33. Netcode started it, and they finished it. Yeah, there's really nothing you can do. I've been taken out leading from Netcode, and you just sit back and like, damn, that sucks. It happens, and it just took out 3 really good cars, and I don't know how they're going to rebound from that. Well, that completely changes the topic of how the strategy was going to play out. That was the 3 cars that have been in the front the whole time. So now here we are, lap 50. Got about 8. You're gonna have 84 laps to go. We're gonna have a change of the guard at the front. How are these guys gonna handle the front? Did anybody of these 4 straight teammates, did they learn anything of the way Ty and Segrist and Pierce, the way that they were running up front? I think that it's now very clear that if you have the lead, you have to keep the bottom. It is old Delara Dash at Charlotte. You keep the bottom, you win the race, because that outside just plain and simply cannot get enough run to clear you through the turns.
Looks like what I'm saying right now on every restart, as long as the leader gets a good jump, they can usually defend their position pretty easily. Right,
and the way that this track is, as long as you can hold the bottom all the way through the tri-oval and hold the bottom all the way down the backstretch, they're not going to be able to get under you, because you can, unlike a Texas or a Kansas, this track, you really can treat the entire track like the low line. There's no washing up down the backstretch up against the wall to keep the momentum here. As the make of this track, the curve on the back allows for this track to really be treated in these cars like one big circle. And as long as you pin it against the white line, no one's going to really get around you unless they get a really, really big run. And we see how fast these packs get made up. No one's able to get those big runs. Going to end up cycling Matt Brewer to the lead. He probably doesn't want me to mention it, but the last time that Matt Brewer was at the lead was at the start of last week's race, and that lasted for about a quarter of a lap. Lost the lead, and that allowed Scott Segrist to go from 4th to 1st in the first lap, and he never looked back. So now here we are, about 83 laps to go. Got 1 to go. Going to restart with 82 laps left. And is it going to be any different now that these front 4 guys are teammates? Stacking it up out on the top. And now that these guys are all communicating with each other, is the restart going to be any different? What do you think, Adam? We going to get pack racing in 2 laps, or are these guys going to be spaced out?
Man, I think it's just too easy to get all packed up. I think we'll still see some pack racing.
few checkups in the back. They definitely started off a little slower than the other starts.
Well, take what I said, throw it out the window.
The teammates definitely trying to maintain the gap, and I think everybody else is not on the same page as Weatherby and Riker and Pierce are coming strong. You know, right as I say that, Brian Edwards started to get a little bit of a run. He let off. I saw the backfire. A little bit of a blink out of Nicholas Weatherby. Not horrible. Oh, now he's bad. Now he's good. Brian Edwards is going to let him go. Matt Brewer is going to let him go as well. Nicholas Weatherby to the lead for the first time tonight, as we got a gaggle of cars fighting hard for fourth place. James Pierce and Ty Riker. It's like we never even changed. The 3 cars that were involved in the wreck a few laps ago are now the 3 cars up front, except this time it's James Pierce in the lead. I think James Pierce spent enough time on the outside fighting for the lead to know that whatever he does, do not give up that bottom line. And I think Ty Riker is.
I think he's actually trying to unlap himself, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, they did. They have unlapped themselves. So right now, those 2 cars, they are not the leaders. They are actually now at the tail end of the lead lap, as Nicholas Weatherby is still the leader, running third in that pack, but he is leading the race. So if I'm Nicholas Weatherby, you know, you're in a tough situation because you got 2 fast cars that have led basically this whole race in front of you, and you don't want to be racing against them. But if you let off, you got 4 fast cars behind you ready to take over the lead. 4 fast teammates behind you ready to take over the lead. I wouldn't be doing all this running the high line that he's doing, wasting these tires.
Yeah, I would just sit behind one of them and push them along.
Coming up on lap 60 this time by. We have 75 laps to go as we speak. Oh, almost contact. Nicholas Weatherby's putting himself in a bad situation.
Ah, it looks like a little bit of a block there. Try to make sure they don't get lapped again.
Well, first and second have started to get a little bit of a gap on Nicholas Weatherby. You know, maybe it just took this long. Maybe everybody's calmed down just a little bit for these gaps to arise, but the whole field is still basically right on top of each other. The whole field's within 2 seconds of each other right now. 2 of them are at the tail end of the lead lap. Everybody else fighting for it. And, you know, I think it shows the state of this package that, you know, I know Ryan Depew is not pushing it whatsoever. He's still within 2 seconds of this pack. Anywhere else, that is not the case. You're not pushing it at all. You're half a lap down before you even realize it. Ty Riker, fastest car on track last time by. You know, if you're those 2 cars, if you're James Pierce and Ty Riker right now, where you're at, I would not fight. I would get lined up and just run. If Nicholas Weatherby is past you, that's one thing. That's when you start fighting for position, because you got to be ahead of the other guy to get the lap back. But where they're at right now, where they're both ahead of the leader, and I think that Ty Riker, he's been up behind them now for about the last 2 laps. He knows that. Second through fifth has really closed up on each other. Second through sixth have really closed up on each other. As I say that, the rest of the field, second through eighth, have really closed up on each other now, to where even if you're Ryan Depew sitting at the back of this pack, if you really wanted to, you could get up there in no time at all. I think, we're not too far off from seeing the effects of aero push that we always see at these ovals. And I don't know how badly they're feeling it in this pack, but it does not look horribly bad. So I think the more that we go in this run, that we're going to end up finding out that is going to be the cause of what spreads this field out, is everybody's going to have to be fighting the track rather than fighting each other. Because we're halfway in this race. This time by, we're going to eclipse halfway already in the opening oval race of the season. Take the opportunity to give a shout out for next week's race. Next week will be the first time the VSRL conquers a street course as we take it to Long Beach for the Orange Logic Grand Prix of Long Beach. Orange Logic might be a familiar name. Tell you what, it's like we're watching the same thing every lap. I feel like the same thing has happened every lap for the last 7-8 laps. But like I was saying, the Orange Logic Grand Prix of Long Beach. Orange Logic, the sponsor labeled across the side of Ryan Depew's car, coming on board for the Long Beach race. One of a couple races this year that we're actually going to have a sponsor. So good for that. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to broadcasting that. Thank God I am not running it, because I am anti-street course. I'm not an anti-street course in general. I'm just anti-running a street course. Too narrow. Not for me. I'm happy I'll be broadcasting it rather than racing it. I compare this, the more that I see how these cars are acting and I see how the racing is, in terms of IndyCar racing, I'm really going to compare this race to, the mentality that you would have at a Daytona or Talladega in a stock car. When do I make my move? When do I start going to the front? How long do I just hang out here? Because really, truthfully, we've been green now for 15 laps, and the field is closer together now than it was 10 laps ago. How content are you with the position that you're in? And 62 laps to go, these guys start to get in a rhythm, and we start to get a pit stop out of the way. The pit stop will be what separates this for sure. But until then, everybody's got to have a mindset. Do I like where I'm at? Where do I want to be when the pit stop happens? How long do I want to stay out after everybody else pits to try and put myself in the best position? A lot of things on these guys' minds, let alone the fact that these top two cars are at the tail end of the lead lap.
So do you try to run every single time you have a big momentum push, just like you would in Cup, and you're like, I take it now, or do you just stall out too much in this? This being the IndyCar
I think right
series.
now the thing that is kind of blockading anything from happening is the fact that the middle of this pack is all teammates. So they're all going to be on the same page for now. Give it another 45, 50 laps, none of them are going to be on the same page. Everybody's going to want one thing, that's the trophy. Gone long enough. I guess it's time for it through the field. How do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
get it. We can start it off with we'll start off with Nicholas Weatherby, and we'll end up right where we started. Nicholas Weatherby, who ended up starting fourth tonight, has had a couple really good runs this year. Last week had a really good run, had a really exceptionally good run at the second race at Montreal, had a chance to win, was in the catbird seat. Just little mistakes ended up giving it away. But yeah, hell of a run by Nicholas Weatherby right now, who is maintaining, even though, really running the outside for the majority of this run. Taking on back to second place, Matt Brewer. We talked about the struggles that he had last week and the persistence that he showed last week after spinning out from the pole on about turn 3 and ended up having to just drive as hard as he could the rest of the race. Drove half that race without his front wing, holding strong in second place, leading the charge for INDY Autosport, who occupies second through fifth. Moving on back to third, I think the guy who was probably the most excited for this oval race, and that was Brian Edwards. An absolute force to be reckoned with last season on the ovals. I would say, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, I'd say probably one of the more aggressive drivers on the tour. I'm not saying that in a bad way. It pays off to be aggressive. And the aggressive ones, everybody knows who the aggressive ones are. Everybody knows who, how they're going to race. And Brian doesn't race people bad. He's just aggressive. And, coming from somebody who started off aggressive, I've kind of leveled out, but I started off aggressive and it paid off in certain situations. Elliot Cox, he's rebounded really good. Elliot Cox has already destroyed a car tonight and spun out another time. And he's pushed that thing back up to fourth, having a really great run. And the fourth straight contingent for INDY Autosport, Taylor Woods, kind of silent and lurking. Hasn't really been doing anything all night. Just kind of been there, silent, waiting to pounce. And I think that he'll be a force to be reckoned with by the end of this thing. If we remember back, ended up winning Texas at the end of last year in that attrition field race. So if this thing ends up being chaotic towards the end, look for Taylor Woods to be putting his name in the hat. Point leader Austin Saar running 6th, started 9th, and he'll make no bones about it that he is not really an oval guy. He did not seem too happy that we were coming out here tonight, but he's the points leader, and I really, if he wasn't in the points leader in a position to win this championship, he might not even shown up. But he's putting up a good show, running 6th right now, ahead of a few guys who I know have big abilities at these ovals. That's going to start with 7th place, the 5th INDY Autosport car. It's going to be William Brennan. Started 15th up to 7th. And I think they're all just riding. William Brennan, one of the 3 guys out there right now who have been out on this run for 46 laps. And then in 8th, not the last car in the lead lap, Ryan Depew, who has run probably the most calm race of everybody. Like I was saying earlier, I said probably lap 30, I said it. You wait till the end of this thing, and we'll probably be talking about Ryan Depew. Now we go right back to where we started, except not with the leader. James Pierce running 9th, and Ty Riker running 10th. Pole sitter Ty Riker. 2 of the cars that basically led the first quarter of this race before that accident that took out the top 3. They've maintained in front of the leader for this entire run. And I don't know how it's going to end up playing out after the pit stop that is inevitably coming. But it's going to shape things up a lot differently with how they're at right now. Now that Matt Brewer is actually closing in on the leader, Nicholas Weatherby, who was able to maintain basically side by side with Ty Riker for about, it seemed like 10 or 15 laps straight. That is gone. Now he's falling into the clutches of Matt Brewer. If you're Matt Brewer, how long do you try and stay around him, or you go get him? Because Nicholas Weatherby coming to lap 39. Matt Brewer coming around to complete lap 50. So if you're Nicholas Weatherby, you have 10 laps more gas than the 2 cars behind you. So you let him go when he gets to you, as Ryan Depew, who's been out there for 36 laps, is bringing it down pit road right now to start the green flag pit stops. How close are these guys? Ryan Depew down and away. He's going to be the first one to complete his pit stop, and he's really going to be the first one to get a gauge on how important these tires are. Because if he's out here setting fast laps, not in a pack with new tires, I think some people are going to catch notice of that. And this could be because honestly, you're good to go from here. You can make it to the end of the race from here. If we have cars out here that have been on 52 laps, you're going to make it from pitting now to any time of the rest of this race. The biggest question concerning pit stops is who has tires left. If you even need tires. I tell you what, it was a rough first half, but this thing is leveled off, and I am shocked that we are probably going on what? We're going on 40 laps at least in this run. And first through 7th is 1.2 seconds within. Good thing I thought my mic had been dead that whole time. That would have been disastrous.
We're just sitting here in silence.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that would have been great. Well, I think you probably would have picked up on it.
Yeah, I definitely would have talked during that. Tell you what, I kind of like this moving the cameras thing.
We're just about to eclipse, about another lap or two from eclipsing the 1 hour mark. We still got about 41 laps to go. As here they go. Matt Brewer and Brian Edwards, all of Indy Autosport have pulled off. Brian Edwards is going to end up getting around. Perfectly legal. You are allowed to pass. You just have to be on the apron to pit. Those 5 cars are all bringing it down. You just got to make sure that each and every one of them don't speed or don't mess up. That's going to put Nicholas Weatherby and Austin Saar, who are on the same strategy right now. This thing plays out green for a little while. This is going to be a stellar end of the race, as all 5 of them are going to end up coming down at the same time. Matt Brewer is going to be the worst one off. Kind of messed up stopping. Who's going to get down and away first? Elliott Cox, Brian Edwards. Elliott Cox, who came in 3rd from that run, is going to end up being the leader out of those 5 that pitted. And Ryan Depew, see how much ground Ryan Depew closed from pitting early. Don't think he's going to be able to get around any of them unless on cold tires it really just doesn't handle that well.
So do you think these guys will catch back up, or are they going to start spacing out?
I think that it's going to end up staying a little spaced out. I think that a few of them are going to be packed together, but as we got a car stuck in turn 3, James Pierce went to go bring it down pit road and just lost it going and carried too much momentum down on the apron. And that's going to be the caution, and that is going to change everything. All of those cars that just pit. You got 3 cars right now on the lead lap. You got Nicholas Weatherby, Austin Saar, and Ty Riker, who ended up paying off for big time. These cars were going to have to make it down pit road within the next 4 to 5 laps. So this caution came at the perfect time to benefit these guys. Now these guys are all Austin Saar and Nicholas Weatherby. We're going to be able to pit, get your pit stop done, come out 1st and 2nd when we get this restart going with about 31 laps to go. Elliot Cox is going to end up inheriting the lead. We might have a little bit of a scoring error here.
No, when they pitted, they would have been same lap.
They are going to end up getting the wave around. So the running order is going to be Nicholas Weatherby. No. Austin Sarr is going to be the leader. Behind is going to be Nicholas Weatherby. Ty Riker is going to be third. Elliot Cox is going to be fourth. Ryan Edwards will be fifth. Matt Brewer sixth. Taylor Woods seventh. William Brennan eighth. Ryan Depew ninth. And James Pierce in 10th. And all 5 of those cars who are a lap down are about to get their laps back.
Man, we're back to a level playing field now.
No, actually, they're not going to get their laps back. They're still going to be a lap down. They're going to get the wave arounds to where they're going to be in position of. They're all going to be fighting. No, they're all going to get waved around. So that's going to end up playing itself out. That Edwards, Brewer, Woods, Brennan, and Depew are going to end up getting the wave around. They're going to be starting at the back of this field. We got 1 lap to green, going to be restarted here with 32 laps to go. Austin Sarr, who was the self-described don't like ovals, now ends up with the lead. Point leader Austin Sarr looking to expand on his point lead with Nicholas Weatherby, who's been up there tonight and who knows what's going to expect. Ty Riker in third, Elliot Cox in fourth, Brian Edwards fifth, Matt Brewer sixth. Now I think it's go time. This is now when it's going to be chaotic.
Agreed.
Everybody's got one thing on mind right now. That's winning. And now it's close enough to be realistic. That I can go out there and win this race. Pace car down and away. Holding off the last second. We are green flag. Austin Sarr down and away. This is going to be wild.
Yeah, not a very good launch there. Pretty level.
The closest stacked restart we've had tonight. As Elliot Cox already zooming down, trying to get third place. Not going to get it. Austin Sarr leaving the bottom wide open for Nicholas Weatherby. 3 wide down into turn 3. Nicholas Weatherby, I think, has the best position. Maybe Austin Sarr just simply doesn't want to be in that position right now.
And also, you got to think about the championship lead. So maybe he's like, not worth it for these guys that are willing to risk it all for a win.
Oh, we almost have a wreck there in 3 and 4. Brian Edwards and James Pierce got extremely close. James Pierce kind of splitting the field right now of the lead lap cars. He is 5 laps down after wrecking. About to have 3 wide for the lead. Ty Riker is the leader. You know, if I'm Nicholas Weatherby, I'm sticking to it. Whatever happens. Don't care what happens above me. I am not surrendering this bottom line. Double file. Nicholas Weatherby, Ty Riker in front. Elliot Cox trying to put his name in there.
Oh, they made contact.
Oh, wow. That, you know, that's, you know, that's the twitchiness of these cars.
I'm going to go back and look at it. Just looks like slight contact. Little wiggle on the bottom, sends him in the wall, and he gets collected. Man, that's unfortunate.
It's brought it down to about a 4-car battle for the lead right here between Nicholas Weatherby, Elliot Cox, Matt Brewer, and Austin Saar. Then you got a 3-car battle behind them with Woods, Brennan, and Depew.
You think they'll play nice?
For now, got 22 laps to go. I think I'd play nice for another 10 or 15 laps. Get within about 10 to go and then start going for it. No holds barred about that point. Is it pouring outside?
I can hear the thunder and lightning hitting, though.
Nicholas Weatherby doing what, you know, I've stated a few times tonight. Just hold the bottom. And he is holding it on the bottom. He hits the apron a little bit right there. That's going to give Elliot Cox the big run. Elliot Cox is going to be the leader this time, I think. Yep, Elliot Cox, sure enough, the leader that lap. Nicholas Weatherby just getting a little bit down there.
But yet again,
you
just can't
hit
complete
that
the
apron
pass.
up all. That's where the contact was with Ty Riker. Barely touched the apron, and as close as these cars are, you know, there's literally no room for error. You hit that apron at all, you're going up. Under 20 laps to go. Really a really a four horse race. You got the 3 cars behind them, but I don't know if they're going to have time to catch up. Elliot Cox, I think, is doing it right now. If Elliot Cox can end up timing the way that he's been running, I think if he can time it right on the last lap, the way that he's doing it, diving down behind him, getting a run down the backstretch, diving down behind him again, and getting a run down the front stretch, that is going to be the move to win the race.
Even there, right there, the way he entered that corner and went up and dove back down, he might get lucky if there's enough room for a little crossover.
You know, we saw it at Texas last season at the last race of the year where Reed Jackson almost pulled it out coming to the line because he ended up nailing the run on the last lap. And I think the situation that they're in, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take Elliot Cox or Austin Sarr or Matt Brewer. It's going to take them getting the perfect run on that last lap and timing it perfectly to get them at the line. Because simply, I think that run on the outside ended up stalling out a little bit as you head into 1.
I really like his speed in 1 and 2. Oh, another wiggle.
The 3 cars behind are not able to catch up to these 4. The hands of this race, the keys to winning this race are in the hands of those 4 cars right there. I think unless we get a caution, or unless those 3 cars behind them are sandbagging, the winner of this race is going to come from these 4. Who? Could not tell you. But we come down to 13 laps to go this time by.
I almost feel like Elliot Cox is just kind of filling him out right now, what he's going to do later. Is he going to try the dive bomb? Is he going to try to get him a little bit loose with air?
He's certainly testing the waters and driving it like that. I don't know how. Oh, gosh. Hey, Adam, go ahead and check the radar real quick.
No, we're about to get pelted.
Yeah. You can say that again. Well, it's 15 times. Hopefully our power. We got 13 laps. Hopefully our power stays on. Oh! Tell you what, he's getting closer and closer each and every lap. And I was wrong. Those 3 cars behind are pulling up. Not fast, but they're pulling up to these front 4.
Ooh, baby.
It's going to be interesting to see here in about 7 or 8 laps whether or not Austin Sarr and Matt Brewer have simply been just waiting it out, or if really they're not able to really do anything with these front 2 cars. But coming down to 10 laps to go this time by, and we have a good finish on our hands. And just like that, here we are coming to 8 laps to go. Who just arrived at the party? Ryan Depew, Taylor Woods, William Brennan. This thing is not over. We have 7 potential cars who could easily win this race. Oh, Ryan Depew got hard on the apron right there. Almost ended up wrecking it. Now I think it's go time. Coming to 7 to go. We do have a green-white checkered, just for the fact that I knew it was going to be pack racing. They are getting dicey. Everybody knows. Everybody in this front pack knows what is coming up. And that is the finish of this race. How long are they going to be orderly for? We're double file, 3 rows back.
Looks like Cox is going to run. Starting to run out of time here because he's going to get some company. He's going to make these moves he's been making a little bit harder. I'd stay up there.
Basically, with these cars pulling up, it takes away his line opportunity to get set up for these runs.
Stay there.
Ryan Depew got into the death zone and got away with it. Austin Sarr almost moves up into Matt Brewer. Coming to 3 laps to go here at Chicago. Do they survive to 3 laps to go? I think Elliott Cox is trying to make a bet on stealing the bottom from Nicholas Weatherby, but I don't think it. Here comes Matt Brewer to the outside. Looked at it, couldn't do it.
Man, I think you gotta try crossover.
This thing is not over with. 2 laps to go at Chicago. It's go time. It's now or never.
Well, it looks like he's gonna lose his chance. Now it opens back up.
If you have not started to try it, you're not going to have a chance to try it. We have a lap and a half left to go this race. What a move down the backstretch. Elliott Cox steals the bottom from Nicholas Weatherby going into turn 3. New leader, Elliott Cox. First time tonight.
I don't know about that. He should have waited probably the last lap because guess what?
White flag is out. One more time around Chicago.
He's going to try here, too, do the same thing.
Now that he's shown his cards of what he's going to do, is it going to happen to him this time down the backstretch?
No, Nicholas Weatherby. Gap. Defend the bottom.
Can't do it. Goes up. Through 3 and 4 contact. And it's going to happen. Elliott Cox is going to come out of turn 4 and he's going to win at Chicago. Matt Brewer's going to bring it home second. Austin Sarr third. Ryan Depew, I told you to look out for him at the end. Going to bring it home fourth. Taylor Woods fifth. William Brennan in sixth. Nicholas Weatherby goes from leading with a lap and a half to go to ended up 7th. What a finish. What a race.
Wow. But like we were saying, he wasn't going to be able to make that move up top, and so he did the perfect thing and did the crossover and chased it all the way down to the grass.
What a race. Congratulations to Elliott Cox. We'll go ahead and get him up here for the interview. Elliott Cox, you're in the Vectors Vision broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Man, me and Adam were talking about it, and it looked like there for a while you were planning it out for about a good 20-25 laps. How did you end up deciding that's what you were going to do? Or did it just happen?
I had planned it. I was thinking about it for the last 30 laps, and I didn't want to make it too early, just because I figured giving him the idea wouldn't be so smart. The real life racing experience has really helped me with the decisions while I drive, but I think it's pretty awesome, especially in my first race in the league that I've done, and since the first race of season 1, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, you certainly showed good patience, and it seemed a little suspect from our view. I don't know how it felt out there, all those laps running side by side, and if it was negatively affecting tires or what, or if there was any aero push. We really couldn't tell, but y'all handled it great. That second half of the race was a little rocky in the start.
Yeah, the aero push was there, especially on the end of the tire run. but the tires didn't really go away too bad towards the end. I'd say probably the last 6 laps, you would start to get a little push out of the corners. Me and Nicholas had a couple 0Xs from contact, and it was getting a little sketchy, but we did it, and on the next week.
Well, that's awesome to hear, Elliot. Hope to see you out the rest of the season. I know you're not 100% full time, but we'll catch you in the next one.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hey, the race is over. It's all right. Move on to the next one. No need to bicker at each other if we're all going to race with each other next week. And that was probably on the broadcast. Don't care.
I don't know if there's anything else you need. I don't know if you do any more interviews, unless you're dealing with other nonsense.
We just do winning broadcast for this week. We got to cut it short because I got to go before this rain starts hitting. I want to thank everybody who watched tonight. I want to thank all the competitors tonight. I understand it was a little rocky, but moving forward, I hope everybody knows that not every track is Chicagoland. This is an experience that everybody at VSRL has not experienced yet. Some races are going to be worse than others. Some tracks are going to be worse than others. Some tracks are going to allow for hard, aggressive racing. Some tracks are going to force you to have hard, aggressive racing. Some people are going to get pissed. Some people are going to be unhappy. This is the way it goes. We're all going to come back next week. We're going to have fun again. Next week at Long Beach, the Orange Logic Grand Prix of Long Beach, street course, probably just as chaotic as this week, probably in a much better way. Thank Adam for being the cameraman tonight, stepping up for Trent, who didn't last very long tonight. But other than that, send in